Hey, good morning. This is Brett Thompson with the Division of Emergency Management. Governor's going to be a little late. Sheriff McMahill is going to kick us off. We're going to give it a few more minutes. It looks like we're too shy of quorum right now, if that's okay, Sheriff. Oh, Sheriff. Hey, good afternoon. It's 1:01. This is Chief Compson, Division of Emergency Management. We're going to continue to hold. We're waiting for Governor Lombardo or Sheriff McMahill. I believe the governor's running just a little late. So if the sheriff gets on, we will start as soon as he does.
Chief Thompson, this is Bill Welch, and I let staff know that I have a doctor appointment at 2 o'clock that I will need to leave for at 1:40. So I just wanted to let the group know based upon the quorum issue that you raised.
Thank you, Bill. Hey, Sheriff, I see you, but I can't hear you.
Okay, I think I got it now. How about now?
All right, we got you, sir.
Apologize. I had computer problems here at home. I've hurt myself, and so I have to do this off my cell phone. But the governor did inform me he is going to be a little bit late. He asked me to please start the meeting. So if you're all good with that, I think it's what time is it now? It's 3 minutes after 1 o'clock. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Lauren, if you could do the roll call for us, please.
Yes, sir. Governor Joe Lombardo. Sheriff Kevin McMahill.
Present.
Sheriff Darren Balam.
Present.
Colonel John Kruger.
Colonel Kyle Serfolio is here for the Nevada National Guard.
Thank you. Spencer Evans.
Present.
Todd Fasulo. Mitchell Fox.
Present.
Chief Fernando Gray.
Chief Gray, can you acknowledge that you're participating? We see you. We got no audio, Chief, but I see you.
Dr. Ikram Khan.
Present.
Chief Charles Moore. Richard Perkins is absent. Harriet Vegas.
Present.
Chief John Steinbeck.
Present.
George Togliatti. Rosemary Vasiliadis.
Present.
Thank you. Patricia Wade,
Present.
Bill Welch,
Present.
thank you. Chief Fernando Gray, did you get your audio on?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can. Thank you. You have quorum.
Okay, great. Moving on to item number 2, public comment. The first public comment is limited to comments on items on the agenda. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under public comment period unless the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an action item. Public comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the chair. Comments will not be restricted based on viewpoint. To provide testimony during this period of public comment via telephone, please call in anytime after 12:30 on the day of the meeting by dialing 1-669-219-2599. When prompted to provide the meeting ID, please enter 686-738-8625 and then press number. When prompted for a participant ID, please press number. When asked to provide public comment, please press *6 to unmute your phone and *6 again when your comments are complete. And since this is on a YouTube stream, we'll have to allow 60 to 90 seconds for anybody to call in. If you'd like to present public comment, please call in using the above number to hear the meeting live. So we'll give it a pause.
Chair, this is Brett Thompson with Division of Emergency Management.
Go ahead.
All right, so for public comment, I just wanted to add one thing I did not get in the agenda in time. So the division has rolled out a new boards and commissions meeting schedule that we will implement starting in 2025 for this commission. It will be on the first Tuesday of the second month of every quarter, with one caveat. We will most likely be moving or adjusting that date in second quarter, and that will be completely tied to the Homeland Security Grant notice of funding opportunity. That's all I have. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
This is Gonzalo Cordova.
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
Yes, sir. Gonzalo Cordova from the Department of Homeland Security, Cybersecurity, and Infrastructure Security Agency. I just want to let the commission know, on all the members and the chairman, that I'll be retiring from federal service at the end of the year. And as a member of a non-voting member of this commission, I've been a member of the commission since 2005, when I was appointed by Governor Kenny Wynn. And I just want to say it's been an honor to serve in this commission and serve the citizens of the state and of the United States. Thank you.
Wow, Gonzo, that's a surprise. I just want to say thank you. I don't think there's a longer serving member of this board than you either. And what a remarkable career. And I can't even think about Homeland Security here in Las Vegas without thinking about you, my friend. So congratulations on an outstanding career as well.
Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated.
Any other public comment? Okay, we'll move on to item number 3. That's the approval of the minutes. If you've read the previous minutes from June 14th of 2024, looking for approval of the minutes.
This is Dr. Khan for the record. I move to approve the minutes.
So we have a
Move second. This is Patty Wade, second.
okay, so first from Dr. Khan, and I didn't catch the name on the second. Patty, I think it said.
Yes, it was Patty Wade.
Okay, Patty Wade.
Patty
All right,
Wade.
all in favor? Say aye.
Second.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Move on to item number 4, statewide National Incident Management System Compliance Report. This is information only, and we'll have a report out from Chief Compton. Chief.
Good afternoon, Commission. Chief Compton, Division of Emergency Management for the record. So this is a report out for third quarter. This quarter, we had 6,310 members participate in various levels of independent study or in-person courses back at EMI or delivered here in the state. Just 2 other items of update related to NIMS compliance and training. We will be updating our website that manages training for the state of Nevada in 2025. We just initiated that project. And then we are going to do a complete retraining, so to speak, here at the Division of Emergency Management in the Nevada EOC. Starting from scratch, we've had a massive amount of turnover here over the last 4 years. So we're going to go through a grounds up effort to make sure that every person here in the team is extremely comfortable and confident in the EOC. That's the end of the report.
Very good. Look forward to that. Thank you. We'll move on to item. Anybody have any comments on this? Hearing none, I'll move on to item number 5. We'll have the report on the election from the Deputy Secretary of Elections, Mark. I'm just going to say W. Mark, if you could say your last name so I don't butcher it, I appreciate it.
Certainly. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Mark Velashin. I'm the Deputy Secretary of State for Elections. I'm joined this afternoon by my colleague, Mrs. Erin Houston. She's the Deputy Secretary for Securities. As we give agenda item 5, this presentation to talk about the 2024 election cycle. Now, I imagine many of you are probably wondering, like, is this going to take 8 to 12 hours? It easily could. And frankly, I would love to sit down and provide that level of assessment to you. But instead today, Erin and I will give essentially a high-level brief following up the election cycle and kind of painting a picture for where we're at now, as well as where we're looking to for the year ahead. So to start off, again, we really have just begun our analysis of the 2024 election cycle. I'll tell you that it's included, even recently last week, detailed discussions with state, county, and city election officials as well. And that assessment, that post-mortem that we're doing is going to take some time. I mean, we're honestly still doing things, right? Like tomorrow is the meeting of the Electoral College in Reno. So again, we still haven't quite wrapped up the election cycle pursuant to state and federal law. But as we do and we continue to look forward, there have been a few trends that have already kind of started to emerge. And I will say that this is going to be through the lens of Homeland Security, right? There's kind of separate elections administrations assessments that we're doing. There's HR, personnel challenges, and retention of election officials. But again, I'm going to focus primarily on the Homeland Security element. In that regard, again, the 2024 election cycle was absolutely a success. In part because of the close partnerships and increased communications over the last 14 plus months. Yes, there were no major incidents, but our overall planning and preparations greatly exceeded what we've seen and done in previous election cycles, which helped create a sense of awareness regarding the election cycle. And what do I mean by that? Well, so while we were, of course, happy that there were no major incidents that occurred, we were prepared to address, again, a wide spectrum of challenges from simple type issues in an individual county up to complex, multifaceted, multi-county challenges. And to do so as a state, which again, I think created a sense of confidence in the election officials, and I believe that the electorate was aware of as well, that ultimately contributed to their assessment of and sense of confidence in the electoral process. Additionally, the artifacts that were created will be useful in helping to ensure that high level of readiness for future election cycles too, as we look to the 26 and 28 election cycles. So a couple of key themes before I go to questions. First and foremost, the collaboration between federal, state, and local agencies, something that we as a state have historically done pretty strongly. And I will tell you that it continued as well. The primary vehicle for that level of collaboration was through our Elections Integrity Task Force. We've had more participation than in previous years. It continues to expand and really prove its worth. That process and really the discussions relating to the Elections Integrity Task Force began back in early 2023 and continued throughout the election cycle. It started with a series of virtual discussions, led to a pre-election cycle in-person training, and then ultimately had some virtual check-ins as well throughout the rest of the calendar year leading up to the general election to make sure that we had not only accurate rosters for the individuals that would be involved, but also an opportunity to share information about previous elections from the presidential weapons primary, the June primary, and then leading up to, of course, the general this past November. I will say also that it stood out that there was involvement from leadership at all levels across agencies and stakeholders. That also essentially was not only noteworthy in regards to the scope of the leadership across the agencies, but also encouraged the prioritization of those discussions in attendance with the Elections Integrity Task Force. That in turn led to some pretty solid development of a foundational level of understanding across the agencies and stakeholders. And what do I mean by that, right? If you'd asked folks during our first meeting, what the important dates were, right? Like they probably would have said election day itself. But as we went on and really following the training sessions, those discussions increased awareness that, mail ballots were required to be sent for the military and overseas voters not later than 45 days prior. So again, an awareness of the timing of the election cycle, again, really across all three elections that we had this year. Again, and then ultimately leading up to the general election. And that level of awareness, right, it meant that folks knew to contact the post office inspectors if something came up in a routine, mail fraud, mail theft type of day. But if it was after certain windows, right, then it got flagged as an elections potential crime, which again, I think ultimately helped. From a cybersecurity standpoint, again, definitely want to provide some praise to both OCIO and our federal partners. We recognize that the cybersecurity threat, especially as it relates to elections, is going to be a persistent and developing threat, and it will continue, basically unabated looking to the future. So those partnerships, again, with our state partners and the federal partners, again, extremely valuable in helping ensure the integrity of the system, including the implementation of our new statewide top-down voter registration and election management solution that went live before the general. Again, no small amount of work from a number of our cybersecurity partners across the space, again, federal, state, even county level. And that was truly appreciated in making sure that the systems worked the way they were supposed to and remained, again, impervious to the ongoing attacks that we saw throughout the year. Physical security, again, also recognized as kind of a long-term challenge for certain counties and really across the state, not just in regards to the security of election officials, but also voting systems. This is something too that as we look to the future and really, again, we took advantage of the physical security assessments and cyber security assessments. I'll say that the Department of Homeland Security offers. A great number of counties use those previously and leading up to the general. And I know that there's a lot of ongoing discussion, again, even based on conversations last week, about folks that are going to try to get those assessments sooner than not at the beginning of 2025. So they deliberately are able to have, again, budget discussions and work through the project planning piece to try to get some of their, again, local, county or state physical security requirements addressed in a timely manner, again, in preparation for 26. Contingency planning. This is also something that we've identified that, again, a pretty solid foundation from where we were at, again, in no small part due to the assistance from the Department of Emergency Management and many of the county emergency managers. But this is something too that there's a number of required contingency plans that county and city election officials have to develop, that we at the state have to receive from them. We had some discussions about that last week and have even identified some additional resources so that we can really help in assisting in the development of some of those plans now. Many of our counties try to use the same polling places during an election with occasionally some deviation based on contracts and availability and those sorts of things. But because of that, right, there's an ability for counties to, in an off year, essentially during 2025, take advantage of that and plan appropriately and really sit down and do some detailed analysis of the locations where they have polling, for example, and observer plans, a lot of the other contingency type plans to make sure that they're really as detailed as they need to be. And frankly, that would also give them the opportunity to conduct those low-level tabletop exercises to really validate those plans. Again, something that worked well and that we really emphasized leading up to the start of the 24 election cycle, but ultimately is an area that we are going to continue to focus on it and build and improve. And then lastly, voter education and outreach. This is an area that we also identified, ties into our overall posture when it comes to security. Because again, when you look to years past, if there's not a significant voter education and outreach program that the Secretary of State establishes, that creates a bit of a knowledge gap and an opportunity for mis and disinformation to really kind of permeate the electorate. And so we were trying to prevent that. Again, fortunately, we were able to get funding from the legislature and signed off by the governor so that we could put resources towards that. Of course, it's one thing to have the idea, but without the resources, it wouldn't have been possible. And now as some of the initial reports are coming back stating that voter confidence is higher than ever, we absolutely want to take advantage of the next biennium to continue to sustain that and really encourage that voter confidence. Yes, voters should have confidence that their elections are being run pursuant to state and federal law. But in addition to maybe them being happy about certain candidates, or maybe just not worrying about it, like we want to make sure that the voters have the ability to see, again, whether it's on websites or through social media or otherwise, the information that supports that. Again, that highlights the different audits that are done, the testing of systems, the chain of custody and other type things that again will absolutely lead to a long-term growth and sustainment of voter confidence in the electoral process here in Nevada. But those are, again, some of the high-level ones, at least initially, based on our assessment and some of the discussions that we've had since the canvasses concluded just a few weeks ago. But I do want to pause for a moment and see if there's any questions regarding any of those items I covered specifically.
This is Dr. Khan. For the record, what is our data regarding threat to the staff statewide this cycle compared to the last cycle, 2020?
That's an excellent question, Dr. Khan. Mark Voloshin, Deputy Secretary of State for Elections, for the record. So, really, when it comes to the threats of physical violence, the 2020 election cycle, at least so far, there was a much greater spike leading up to and then following the 2020 election cycle in a way that has not occurred yet. I mention that because, again, this office, even the Secretary of State's office, didn't receive threats of violence until after the turn of the new year, leading into 2021. But it does seem like that threat against election officials, state, county, and city has been reduced somewhat. And while we are keeping our guard up, of course, the sense from election officials is one of maybe not as much frustration, or that at least indicates that it might lead towards violence.
But my follow-up is, what actions have we taken for prevention of further episodes like this for the staff protection going forward?
Again, excellent question, Dr. Khan. Mark Voloshin, for the record. So the follow-ups, there's a number of different things. One, again, there was the bipartisan bill, it was Senate Bill 406 that was passed during the last legislative session, making it a crime to threaten, harass, or dox election officials. There's been some discussion about that bill, and it has since been codified in NRS 293, being a pretty significant deterrent to individuals who may otherwise have thought about trying to cause havoc or maybe target election officials across our state during this last election cycle. That's not to say, and I want to be perfectly clear, that we did not have passionate voters who had opinions that they wanted to be made known, again, in a perfectly legal way. That absolutely occurred in a number of polling places across our state. Again, Americans exercising their First Amendment political right to political speech. But it just didn't have the pointed anger targeting the election officials more than anything. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mark?
Hey, Sheriff, this is John Steinbeck. I have a question, sir.
Go ahead, Chief.
Thank you. Mark, I wanted to know if the length of time of our elections, the length that it takes for us to bring in our mail-in ballots and make our final determinations. I know that makes us a national focus. Does that bring up any strain on resources for you or any additional security concerns?
It's an excellent question, Chief. Mark Voloshin, for the record. I will say, again, recognizing maybe delicately the nonpartisan nature of my position, that I believe that there are going to be some discussions during this upcoming legislative session about that exact topic, the deadlines and times associated. So, from an elections administration standpoint, again, administratively, it's doable. Administratively, again, we're able to execute the law as written across the state and counties to make sure that we meet those timelines. So from a resource standpoint, again, I wouldn't necessarily say that there's an overt burden that's keeping us from meeting those timelines. That being said, of course, if the legislature changes them, if the governor signs them, then we'll comply with those, of course. But I think that's more of a policy decision for the legislature and other stakeholders to have that I really can't speak to. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Sheriff.
Any other questions? Great report, Mark. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you all for having me.
Agenda item number 6, report out on Formula One, and that will be led by Chief Billy Samuels, the Clark County Fire Department Emergency Manager, soon to be Chief, and Reggie Rader from the Homeland Security Division of the LVMPD. Gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Sheriff and Committee. This is Billy Samuels for the record. I'll just do a quick brief out of the F1 for 2024. The planning for a Formula One Grand Prix began immediately following the 2023 race. As stated on the last NCHS meeting, Clark County conducted the debrief and began preparing for 2024. The LVGP, Las Vegas Grand Prix, made considerable changes in staffing this year, which improved the preparedness of the efforts. One of the recommendations was to bring the start time for practice 1 and 3, which was respectively on Thursday and Friday nights, start them earlier. What they did, they heard our requests, and we were able to demobilize our people sooner, which gave them rest for the following night on that Saturday evening. Most of the physical footprint and the rules remain the same: 3.8 miles, 50 laps with a 2-hour max, pending any red flags, except for decreasing the size of the bridge that travels east-west on Flamingo over Koval. With a limited ability to reverse that bridge, many resources have the ability to stage inside the track. Fire, police, and ambulance and utility companies were these main partners. I'll let Metro talk to or Chief Rader talk on the LVMPD on the bridge side to impact the traffic. With this race being a Tier 3, we did not receive the federal coordinator as we normally would with a 1 or a 2. However, our federal partners are amazing, and they still support us and participated anyways. Prior to the race, Lieutenant Bell and myself had multiple conversations with the Union Pacific Railroad asking for 2 things. One was to limit the time rail cars will be traveling through the valley and to have no rail cars stage or hold close to the venue. On Friday, November 22nd, we did have a rail car fire which had new automobiles in its containers. The Multi-Agency Coordination Center had a special agent from Union Pacific Railroad that was physically located in the MAC who was able to identify what was burning, and our main concern was if they were electric, which was quickly denied. We also had a representative from the National Weather Service who was able to build us a plume model based on current and future weather patterns. This information was shared with the Department of Operations, with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and Switch, along with pictures of that model. We would not have been as successful if we did not plan prior for this event. Overall, the event went off with minimal to no distractions or issues. However, just because of that, we cannot let our guard down and become complacent. I do want to express my thanks to the Legislative Council Bureau and Governor's Office for the approval of the Nevada National Guard, which takes positions at the event and at our trauma centers. And Sheriff, with any pending questions or concerns, I'll turn this over to Chief Rader, or if you have anything for me, sir.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Samuels? Good job, Billy. Reggie?
Thank you, sir. From a law enforcement perspective, this event really could not have gone any better. We did not have any significant events. There was a safe environment for all of the people that were there, our locals and our visitors, and there was only 11 arrests that were all minor in nature. I believe the consistency of having done it from the first year to the second year definitely helped us. And really the only major issue we had to overcome on that first day were some traffic issues. And we were able to work with our strip partners and our F1 folks and augment our traffic plan a little bit to push folks even further out to those higher volume intersections to really get the flow of people that were coming into the event and all of the strip workers that were trying to leave that footprint to be able to flow a little bit better. And that was accomplished also by delaying the time that we were going to be shutting down all the roadways. So after that adjustment we made on Thursday, things seemed to work a lot smoother traffic wise the remainder of the event. And I echo Chief Samuels as well. The SEER rating, we didn't get the level that we wanted, but our state, local, and federal partners still all showed up to help out to have a seamlessly, very well event for us. And then I'll take any questions.
All right, hearing none, good report. Thank you both. Move on to item number 7, which is again public comment. Public comment period is for any matter that lies within the jurisdiction of the public body. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under this public comment period unless the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an action item. Public comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the chair. Comments will not be restricted based on viewpoint. To provide that testimony during the period of public comment via phone, please call in after 12:30 on the day of the meeting by dialing 1-669-219-2599. When prompted to provide the meeting ID, please enter 686-738-8625, then press pound. When prompted for a participant ID, please press pound. When asked to provide public comment, please press *6 to unmute your phone and *6 again when your comments are complete. Please be advised the YouTube stream will be 60 to 90 seconds behind the live meeting. If you would like to present public comment, please call in using the above number to hear the meeting live. So again, we'll take a pause unless there's anybody ready for public comment.
Hey, Kevin. Joe Lombardo here.
Hi, Governor.
Hey, Lauren, let the record show that I attended most of the meeting, but I am present. And Kevin, thanks for handling that for me. But I had a public comment. Lauren, is Gonzalo Cordova, is he present?
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't know if you did this, but for everybody's clarification, this is Gonzalo's last meeting, as far as I know. And I want to thank him for all his participation for the last 20 years in the public safety space, in particular to DHS. And Gonzalo, I want to wish you goodwill and the best of luck in your retirement. Thank you.
Very much appreciated, Governor. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's all I had, Kevin.
Okay. Lauren, do you have anybody on the line?
No, sir, but I saw a hand from Mr. Steinbeck.
I apologize. I did not see his hand. John?
Yes, sir, Sheriff. I was before the governor got on, I was just going to echo the appreciation of Gonzalo and all that he's taught me and everybody else in this space, and really grateful to him. I wish him the best. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Any other calls or hands that I might have missed? All right, item number 8, we'll move for adjournment. I need a motion.
Dr. Khan, for the record, so moved.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. Second.
This is Bill Welch.
Second. All right, we have our first and our second. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Y'all have a wonderful holiday. Thank you.
Happy holidays to everybody. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.